Alright, so this video will be a quick refresher on interview don'ts. And the first one is don't lie. Like honestly, I've uploaded a couple of videos on this channel with how to cheat in job interviews, but you'll understand that there's a huge difference between showing things in such a way that you sell yourself in a job interview and outright lying. And honestly speaking, I do not know people who have had success outright lying, like inventing stories for a job interview. Second, don't be too modest. Like the job interview is not the time to be modest. Now, I'm not advising you to be cocky or overbearing, but do make flat out statements such as, based on my skills and experience with XYZ, I believe that I'd be a great addition to your team. Right? So advertise yourself in the way that, of course, it makes sense for you. Number three, don't feel constrained about official job descriptions. Like job descriptions nowadays are marketing materials, and don't be surprised if in the job interview you'll be asked about further skills and expertise, and essentially be prepared to be ready to take on tasks that are outside of the job description, to the extent that, of course, they make sense to you. Number four, don't criticize your former boss or employer. To give you some pointers here, the questions where you might do this more often than not is a time when you had a disagreement with your boss. So try to have a strong answer without criticizing anyone there. Number five, don't interrupt your interviewer. Like the temptation is really high when you understood the question to really give a straightforward answer and save their time in a way, but there's really a lot more that they're asking you other than the question. They're also supposed to send you some non-verbal clues, that you must take advantage of in a job interview. So you have plenty of stuff to focus on while listening carefully to their questions. Number six, don't take control of the interview. Like there is this side effect when you get overexcited in a job interview that you feel like you take control and you start with monologues and whatnot. They are the ones running the show, and most of the time they will not appreciate if they feel like you are the one in charge of the situation. So really, it's as simple as that. In a telephone screening round, I'd even encourage you to try to bring the balance to 50-50 as to how much you speak when compared to them. Don't take control of the interview. Number seven, don't show signs of panic. And don't lose your cool if things don't go as expected. Like a job interview, especially behavioral job interviews, is supposed, to get you out of your comfort zone in a way. Being prepared to work under pressure is something really, really important for job interview. And this is often where many interviews actually break. So what you can do about this, be aware of these things as possibilities, and realize that, hey, yes, you cannot always give perfect answers, and just move on, to be honest with you. But so long as you're self-aware, you're a lot more likely to do well in these cases. Number eight, don't ask anything that could be easily found out using a Google search. So don't ask bad questions. Prepare questions in advance if you want. I have plenty of examples on my YouTube channel, but don't ask obvious questions because that will make them look bad, and you don't want them to look bad, of course. Number nine, don't talk too much. Like I could very well understand if they ask you technical questions for which you would have to even take 10 minutes to give a great answer. No problem with that. But when it comes to the behavioral part of the interview, tell me about the time when types of questions, try to be concise, try to be to the point, and only give the information that you believe it's the best to give. They can always follow up, and the goal is to start a conversation after all, right? So don't talk too much in a job interview. Try to listen. That's a much better employment of your time. And finally, number 10, don't look as if you're desperate to get a job. And I'm particularly talking here about the screening rounds. I found that there's not much success in showing as desperate when speaking to a recruiter, especially for a high-paying job. And this is what I'm primarily talking about here. It might fly to say, I really want this job with the hiring manager, but there's a big difference between showing as desperate or showing as confident that you actually really want the job. So these were the 10 housekeeping items that I wanted to refresh your memory on. Hopefully you found this useful.